Super Saturday, so we ready to get out here and go. Yeah. Rumble already done been pre-started. Hell, they had got some music over there. You know, we can't do it on YouTube. Spider Pig actually trying to get monetized one day. Maybe not today, but hell, one day. Hell, maybe not even at all. Hit the buy me a coffee, because we already monetized. Hell, we ain't gonna keep lying to you. We just gonna tell you the truth. Anyways, we got videos to do today. Let's get right to them, because, uh, time waits for no man. So I ain't got time to play with you.
Alright, we back with another one. Goku and DC Season 3, Episode 16. Vegeta versus Ozaru Goku, so let's get into it. Wonder Woman's triumphant smile faltered, replaced by a cold, creeping dread that seized her heart. She gazed up at a colossal fury titan that was once her friend, its silhouette a monstrous cutout against the blood-red moon. The raw primal power radiating from Goku's Ozaru form was a physical pressure, a suffocating aura of bestial rage that made the very air taste of ozone and fury. Her mind flashed back to a different battle, a different moonlight night. She saw a smaller but no less terrifying great ape rampaging through the Amazon forest, its eyes the same mindless crimson voids. She remembered the panic in the faces of her younger sisters that weren't as battle-tested, just as she was, the desperate struggle to contain them. Most vividly, she recalled the heart-wrenching moment she had to make a choice, which was to watch her friend destroy her home and everything in its path, or sever the source of his torment. So she had swung her sword then, and a clean cut that saved him from himself, but she was still filled with a pang of guilt for that mutilation. Now history was repeating itself on a cataclysmic scale, and she clutched the hilt of her sword, her knuckles white. "Please, Goku," she whispered into the roaring wind, a prayer to a friend she hoped could still hear her. "Show me you are still in there. I do not wish to maim you again." The initial shock that was on Vegeta's face, a rare precious glimpse of genuine alarm, was quickly smothered by the arrogant certainty that was his birthright. His cocky grin returned, wider and more vicious than before, as he looked up at the 10-story tall engine of destruction. "So, the Saiyan finally shows his true face," he yelled over the bestial roaring. "You think this changes anything, Kakarot?" In his mind, the calculation was simple. Yes, the Ozaru transformation granted a tenfold multiplier to one's base power, but a low-class warrior like Kakarot, even with his surprising strength, would be utterly consumed by the primal instincts of the beast. He would be a force of nature, yes, but a mindless one, a hurricane that could be predicted, outmaneuvered, and ultimately exploited until he got a perfect shot at his tail. Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, had been trained from birth to harness the great ape's power, to bend its world-ending might to his will. He assumed Kakarot was now little more than a rabid animal, a puppet to its own rage. "This is the difference between our bloodlines, you fool," he spat, gritting his stance. "You are a slave to this form. I am its master. I will dance around your clumsy attacks until you exhaust yourself and give me an opening." But the prince's smug monologue was abruptly cut short. Along with the very air that was in his lungs, as a fist the size of a small building descended upon him with a terrifying speed and impossible precision. It wasn't wild, It wasn't a wild, sweeping swing. It was focused. An earth-shattering punch aimed directly at where he stood. Vegeta barely blurred out of the way, the shockwave from the impact alone hurling him through the air like a leaf in a gale. He tumbled across the shattered landscapes, getting to a halt with wide, disbelieving eyes. The crater left behind was perfectly formed, a testament to controlled, directed force, not mindless devastation. Vegeta's worldview, his foundational belief in Saiyan-cast superiority, shuddered. How? How could a lowborn, a sent-to-die afterthought, possibly exhibit such control? He had no knowledge of Goku's past, of his time with the Teen Titans. He couldn't know of the countless hours Goku had spent on the Titans' training grounds with Garfield Logan.
So this damn what if is like a crossover also. So you got Goku who's went off and did some training with the Justice League. And the Teen Titans apparently. Beast Boy was this nigga's mentor, so now Goku knows how to handle Ozaru, which would be some bullshit. But you got Vegeta versus Ozaru Goku. Yeah, it's a good fight. Good fight. Let's see where he goes with this though, because he said, "Nah, Goku actually got control of it." So let's see what happens. I don't know why Wonder Woman was just saying this nigga don't had no memory. Then the next thing you know, he's in control of Ozaru. So that part didn't make no damn sense. He must have not knew where he was writing the story for that part to go at first, because then he just turned around and made it make no sense. Yeah, but that's some Akira Toriyama shit right there. You got to troll the audience. You hit them with a bunch of shit that don't make sense, but it's Dragon Ball. You got to study the master troll, right?
Another shapeshifter, known as Beast Boy, who understood the struggle of controlling a bestial form. They had sparred and shared techniques, and Goku, ever the martial artist's prodigy, had learned to channel the great ape's rage to find the calm eye of the hurricane within its storm. That training was the key Vegeta could never have anticipated. The smirk was now irrevocably wiped from his face, replaced by the grim, cold realization that he was not fighting a mindless beast. He was fighting a beast warrior, one whose power now utterly dwarfed his very own in this moment. Enraged and humiliated, Vegeta decided to test the beast's resilience. He let out a furious cry, unleashing a relentless volley of yellow energy blasts. "Die, you overgrown lowlife!" The air screamed as dozens of key projectiles, each capable of leveling a city block, streaked toward the giant's torso. The resulting explosions were deafening, a continuous concussive orchestra of destruction that kicked up a massive cloud of dust, smoke, and superheated debris. The ground shook with the force of the barrage. Vegeta hovered, chest heaving, a satisfied sneer beginning to form. No being, no matter how large, could withstand such a concentrated assault unscathed. But as the yellow-tinged smoke began to clear, his sneer melted into a stunned disbelief. The great ape stood unmoved, its immense form revealed through the dissipating haze. Its chest rose and fell in a steady, rumbling rhythm. When the blast had struck, the thick black fur was lightly scorched and smoking, but the skin beneath was utterly unbroken. It was akin to throwing firecrackers at a mountain. The attacks had done nothing more than annoy it. The Ozaru's glowing red eyes narrowed, focusing on the insignificant, buzzing speck that had dared to sting it. A low, deep growl emanated from its chest, a sound that promised imminent and total retaliation. The retaliation came faster than Vegeta could process. The massive fur-covered arm, a limb of living, breathing geology, swung in a backhand that seemed to move in slow motion, yet covered the distance instantly. There was no technique, no finesse, only pure, unadulterated power. Vegeta crossed his arms in a desperate guard, bracing for impact. The connection was catastrophic. It was like being hit by a continent itself. Every molecule in his body screamed in protest. The sound wasn't a punch. It was a deep, resonated boom of utter force meeting fragile resistance. Vegeta was launched backward, not like a ragdoll, but like a cannonball that was fired from a siege weapon. He cut through the air completely out of control before plowing into the face of a distant jagged mountain range. The impact carved a deep person-shaped crater into the solid rock. He slid down to the base, collapsing onto one knee, his body trembling violently as he spat a thick glob of
What I
dark,
think Dragon
sand
get
blood
to
onto
see,
the
big
ground.
homie.
His vision swam, and a sharp
And
metallic
I'm gonna check
taste
out my
filled
buddy.
his mouth. As he looked
Whatever
down,
he's
he saw
doing
the
today.
once pristine armor of the Saiyan elite was now webbed with hairline fractures, the chest plate visibly dented. The sheer overwhelming disparity in their power was now a painful, undeniable fact. Kneeling in the rubble, his body screaming in protest, a cold, tactical clarity cut through Vegeta's rage. Pride was a luxury for the victorious, and he was on the verge of annihilation. He was at a severe disadvantage, and if this continued, the Prince of All Saiyans would be crushed into nothing more than a bloody paste by a low-class warrior. His eyes, sharp and desperate, scanned his environment, analyzing every variable. Then they locked on to the source of all his trouble. The full, blood-red moon hanging in the sky like a giant, accusing eye. A plan, desperate and brilliant, formed in it.
You know how I'm doing, big homie, man. It's another day in paradise. Wake up, Super Saturday, get to doing my thing. I appreciate you taking the time out of your live to come to my live, because, I had to come back to your live later because I'm down to one device. So that's the one that I'm using the camera. So, hell, I'll make sure I look for your work when I get a shot at getting over there, though. But we do it our THING right now. So I definitely come check you out in a minute, smell what you're cooking. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it's something good. Well, it's always something good. Y'all know Think Dragon don't put out bad products. Y'all better go check out the big homie. If you don't know him, you better get to. Yeah. Y'all know we talking about Dragon Ball, but we also talking about Think Dragon. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the reason why his name is Think Dragon. Dragon Ball's always been a hot topic. So if you got Dragon in your name, it'll be popping up.
Instant. If he couldn't defeat the ape, he would simply remove its power source. His knowledge of their biology was his greatest weapon. His hand snapped up, palm facing the celestial body. Purple energy, dark and malevolent, began to swirl and coalesce, drawing from his reserves. It would be a blast meant not for a person, but for a moon. A cruel smile touched his bloody lips. Enjoy your strength while it lasts, Kakarot, because it ends now. But before the energy in his palm could reach its crucial mass, a searing golden light wrapped around his wrist like a viper. It yanked his arm down with irresistible force, disrupting his concentration and causing the gathering energy to fizzle and sputter out harmlessly. Shock, pure and utter, was the first emotion to register on Vegeta's face. He was so focused on the macro threat he had completely forgotten the micro one. He turned his head, his eyes wide with disbelief, to see Wonder Woman, feet planted firmly, straining against her lasso of truth, which was wrapped tightly around his forearm. His expression was one of sheer unyielding determination. Or her expression was one of sheer unyielding determination. His shock curdled into incandescent fury. This insect, this primitive princess, she had dared to lay her hands on him, to physically prevent him, a Saiyan prince, from...
I mean, she is an Amazonian princess, though. Shouts out to Wonder Woman. She's over here trying to fuck with Joe Boy. Hey, she done ran around with Goku, so she knows how strong Saiyans are in this storyline. But I don't like this storyline that much. The Zaru versus fucking Vegeta was a fucking classic fight. Hey, you always wanted to see that what if. Yeah, shouts out to your boy. We found it for you this week.
Executing his strategy perfectly. And then, as the lasso's magical properties took hold, forcing a sliver of truth upon him, a third emotion flickered behind the fury. A sliver of cold, genuine fear. The fear of a predator suddenly realizing it's not at the top of the food chain. The fear of the prince realizing his reign was about to be brutally ended. Before that fear could fully take root, a shadow blotted out the blood moon, the stars, and the entire sky. As Vegeta had a split second to look up, his eyes reflecting the immense descending foot of the great ape. There was no time to dodge, no time to scream. The foot came down upon him with the force of divine hammer. The impact was geological. The ground for a mile around didn't just crack. It liquefied and then compacted under the pressure, creating a vast shallow crater. Tectonic plates miles below groaned and shifted under
I
the
like that
unimaginable
description though. He
stress.
said it
For Vegeta
liquefied
trapped in
and
the
then
epicenter,
created
it
the
was
crater.
pure,
Diggy.
unfiltered agony.
Damn.
Every bone in his body vibrated. His armor, the symbol of his royal status, gave one final pathetic screech before being utterly crushed underneath the foot. The shoulder pads shattering, the chest plate compacting against his torso, the scowl on his face exploded into a shatter of sparks and red glass. Dozens of hairline fractures sped through his ribs, his arms, his legs. He was buried deep beneath the earth, entombed in rock and darkness. The weight of a mountain pinning him down. The world went black, silent, and full of pain throughout his body. A profound silence fell over the wasteland, broken only by the settling dust and the deep rumbling breaths of the great ape. Wonder Woman slowly lowered her arms, the golden lasso retracting to her side. She watched as the giant form of Goku seemed to relax, its terrifying aura receding. It turned its massive head toward her, and for a moment, she saw not mindless rage in those red eyes, but a flicker of familiar warmth. A smile, tentative but real, spread across her face. He had done it. He had controlled it. They had won. The most powerful warrior she had ever faced was buried and broken under the earth. She began to walk forward, her steps light in relief. The giant ape took a heavy step toward her, its movements now slow and almost gentle-like. It was a moment of incredible hard-won peace between two friends from different worlds who had just overcome an impossible threat together.
There's
The
still a whole
nightmare was
5 minutes
over.
left. What's gonna happen?
But the peace was shattered in an instant as the ground where Vegeta was buried erupted outward. He emerged from the earth not like a conqueror, but like a revenant clawing its way from a grave. His form was a horrifying testament to his endurance and will. He was battered, bruised, and bleeding profusely from a cut on his forehead that poured down his face, forcing one eye to remain closed. His armor was in ruins, the shoulder pads completely gone, leaving only a form of straps, and the chest piece was a crumpled mess. But in his one good hand, he had a swirling, buzzing disc of brilliant blue energy. The Destructo-like disc was a technique of pure cutting power. His remaining eye was locked on not onto the ape, but onto Wonder Woman, burning with a killer intent more intense than anything he had ever shown. She had humiliated him, thwarted him, and now she would die. He hurled the disc with a final ragged scream. It screamed through the air, too fast, too unexpected. Diana's eyes widened, her muscles tensing, but she knew she wouldn't be fast enough to react in time. Time seemed to slow. Wonder Woman saw the deadly disc spinning toward her, a cerulean ring of death. She saw the battered Vegeta snarling in triumph, and then she saw a massive black-furred hand enter her field of vision. With a speed that defied its size, the Ozaru lunged, not to attack but to protect. Its gigantic fingers closed around her with an impossible gentleness, plucking her from the path of the attack and lifting her high into the air. She was cradled safely in his palm, the world swinging dizzyingly below her at the speed of the act. The Destructo disc shot through the space where she had been standing, harmlessly slicing through a distant rock formation. Goku had saved her. Even in his monstrous form, his first instinct was to protect his closest friend. But in that selfless lunging motion to save Diana, Goku had exposed himself. His long prehensile tail had swung out behind him for balance. It was the opening that Vegeta, a master of combat exploitation, had been waiting for. A second Destructo disc hidden behind his first materialized and was launched
What up, big
with a
homie?
vicious flick of Vegeta's wrist.
Appreciate
It
you
wasn't aimed
stopping
at the
by.
body, but at its one true weakness. The buzzing disc sliced through the air,
Fire
connected
the
with
hole at the
base of
same
Goku's
time,
tail.
right?
There was no resistance. The energy blade cut through the fur, skin, and bone as if it were nothing, severing the tail cleanly. The effect was instantaneous. The colossal form of the great ape began to shimmer, shrinking rapidly in a cascade of golden light. In mere seconds, where a giant beast had stood, there was only Goku collapsed on his knees. cradling an injured woman gently in his arms. He was breathing heavily. He was breathing heavily, returned to normal, completely vulnerable. Diana stirred in his arms, her eyes fluttering open to see his face. Her own filled with shock and horror at their sudden devastating reversal of fortune. A low, wet, coughing laugh echoed from across the battlefield. Vegeta leaned forward, each step a monument to his pain and his undiminished hatred. His body was a wreck, but his will was an unbreakable diamond. The killer intent radiating from him was palpable, suffocating wave, colder and sharper than any blade. He looked at Goku, who was struggling to stand while protecting Diana. Kakarot, Vegeta rasped, his voice a gravelly promise of death. You have humiliated me. You have made me bleed. For that I am going to take everything from you. He raised a trembling hand, energy once again beginning to spark and gather. I will start with her, then your planet, then your friends. I will erase your entire existence from the cosmos. This I swear on royal blood. The battle was not over. The fourth quarter was starting. Yeah, man. All right, so that's the end of this episode. Let me know what you guys think. Kind of changed the art style up a little bit, made it look a little dark and gray. Let me know what you guys think about that. But, like, share, subscribe, all that. Till the next one. Go on, peace.
So to the next one. Uh-oh.
Peter, listen to me. You disrupted a canon event. Canon event? Yes, and if I don't fix it right now, you and everyone you love will die. Okay, so what do you need to do? I gotta smash your girl. No, you gotta let me. It's canon. You don't need your big black cannon. This could send a ripple effect through the universe. No, it's gonna send a ripple effect through cheeks. And you expect me to just watch? It's the fate of the universe. How big is it? Peter, come on. How big is it? It's bigger than the low taper fade. Get out. You don't have a choice, Peter. That's what a canon event is. No, a canon event is her falling off a building or getting shot in the back, not getting stretched out by Diddy Longlegs. I'd rather her get hit by a train. I was hoping you wouldn't say that. Why do they both have dreads? Being Spider-Man is a sacrifice. Everyone's girl gets clapped, Peter. Every there's gotta be another way. There is no other way. But you're Spider-Man, you can stop this. But this is the only train Spidey can't stop.
Oh, shit. Yeah, having a good time I am. Super Saturdays, y'all. Y'all know the Grand Prix put in some work. Shouts out to our boy Unrelenting Gamer. He came through with that Friday post. You dig?
Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of Unrelenting Gaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Zen?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the domino, and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else, what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
Now, although with the fate of the entire multiverse having to now rest upon the shoulders of the Grand Minister, everything will ride on this final battle here between them, as I do strongly believe that Raijin is about to finally go and answer for every crime that he's committed.
As
as our story now continues, following the initial rescue that the Grand Priest was shown making and having to save Universe 7 from the clutches of Raijin's wrath within the Demon Realm, to which it was only just upon with the Grand Priest having to unleash his Omni form for the first time since his battle against Murno and now having to confront Raijin, was when Raijin went on to then quickly respond, "How dare you go and position yourself in declaring my endgame so prematurely when the source of my internal torment and the reasons behind as to why I went and did what I did was all because of you meddlesome wretch. But no matter, because by the time this here is over between us, no matter how high it is that you are able to climb and no matter how powerful you want to go and claim for yourself to be, and I cannot and I will not go and allow for you to be."
I like how the Grand Minister got this face tattoo out of nowhere. Like, yeah, he said, shit, I got extra halos. You dig? He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 extra halos. No, 7. Damn, this nigga haloed up over here. And you know, each one is a different ring of power. Yeah, shouts out to having all his revenues of investments coming back to pay out, right? He said, hey, I put some money over here, I put some money on this one, put some money on that one. You know what I'm saying? We got the forearm one, then we got the bicep ones, you know what I'm saying? Then I got 2 right behind my head for whatever reason. You know what I mean? He haloed up out here, you know what I mean? That's why you fighting the angel, right? First one. All the rest of them is his son.
Result in my undoing, you
well, daughters, you know, they have daughters also.
hubris and having everything that it was that you had just said come from you of all people. Because how are you going to be so sure that any of this that you have just said is actually going to unfold in the ways of which you think that they're going to, Raijin questions? How are you so sure that I too don't also possess the potential in reaching a similar Omni-based level just like yours, you angelic worm? And why wouldn't I be able to? Why wouldn't I be able to ascend beyond your reach in obtaining a similar level of power, or perhaps even a far greater one, or perhaps even a far greater one than the one that you are shown in having to use against me right now, Angel? Because let's not go and forget now that I am able to fully use and tap into Murno's reserves, along with his potential in having it elevate me to far greater heights than the one in which I am currently residing within. And so what makes you believe that I won't be able to eclipse you if my potential far exceeds your very own, Grand Minister? With the Omni Grand Priest responding, your empty threats do not invoke any fear that is placed within my heart when having to take a look into seeing as to what you turned yourself into. And as this amalgamated parasite continues to go and fester from deep within you, the Omni Grand Priest continues, as it feeds off of your desperate rage in hopes of being enough in what will stop me, you have already lost this battle here against me, as I will gladly hereby go as far as to also prove it to you the moment you are to go and make your first move. A parasite, huh? Is that what you think of me as being? Well, fine. Then why don't you go and stay right where you are and I'll... You are in way over your head here against me if you believe that I will be intimidated in the least by anything it is that you have to say, the Omni Grand Priest interrupted by having to then be shown striking Raijin in the stomach. And so what good is your own word to anyone if you will ultimately fail to deliver on your promises, especially since you and I both know that no matter what you assume to know after retaining Murno's memory or lack thereof, you will never...
Like, look at that shot, though. I mean, bro just got 106 and pause yo shit. Negro. Now a word from our sponsor. Have you ever been knocked the fuck out? Did Debo hit you right in the gut? Make sure you get you some armor next time. Shout out to Under Armour. They might need to get an affiliate program, because I might have to start selling the new Under Armour Sand Edition, because, you know, hell, look at that boy. He wishing he had some protection right now. Remember? Well, y'all don't remember that part because that was part of the Rumble video. So I'm talking to the Rumble people right now. So remember when we were talking about protecting yourself? Roger said, hey, I went in there bucket naked and got fucking, yeah, look at him, mad at himself right now. Like, why would I do this? This is the Grand Priest.
Escape the judgment that awaits you, the Grand Priest continues, but in the meantime, let's just see if you can prove me wrong, as now I want to see if you have what it takes to do as I just did and match my resolve, demon. Now I get it, Vegeta went on to then respond, as the Grand Minister was looking to do unto Raijin as Raijin had done unto so many others, but could this perhaps be a mistake of some kind that maybe the Grand Minister is hereby making? Because how could we go and be so sure that this demon isn't going to use one of the many tricks throughout this battle that he has within his pocket to elevate himself even further than where he is right now in this battle? With Beerus responding, well, although we cannot go and simply rule out the idea of this demon having to somehow find a way to perhaps change the tides within his favor during this battle, the odds of seeing this demon prevail over the Grand Minister, however, is essentially non-existent. Yes, and while I second Lord Beerus' overview, since the Grand Minister appears to deliberately want to choose to engage Raijin this way, Whis adds, I am also starting to now believe that while Raijin indeed appears to be changing from within, perhaps the Grand Minister is also using this moment here between them to go as far as to gauge his Omni level of power when fighting this demon, since Raijin's case in having an enemy of his caliber come along isn't always a frequent one to begin with here either, and so I must go on to assume that the Grand Minister is hereby going and taking these moments to not only punish this demon for everything that he has done to break the laws of the cosmos before him, but on top of the fact, it also looks as though the Grand Minister...
So for those who don't believe in Short Kings, Grand Priest is that Short King that's, stocky as hell whenever he goes in his zone. He ain't got to be over 6 foot. He could be 5'5" and wide as hell, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Grand Minister, hold it down for us Short Kings. Well, I ain't short no more. I'm almost 6 foot these days, 5'10", 6 foot, 6'2". It's all the same. Hell, we use the grow illusion on people and then they see what I want them to see.
Is testing to see if he
Like
can
Galactus,
exploit any and
you
all
see whatever you want to see.
vulnerabilities, we says, as I would go as far as to wager that he must already know of some of them by now, which is why we will have to go and wait and see as to what will come from this. Make a mockery of me, will you, to shun me away and cast me into the voids beneath you, huh? Raijin adds, well, not this time, because this time I won't allow for you to have this go within your favor. And as I intend on having things go and end differently here between us, and if you still wish to go and doubt me, then stay right where you are. It was only just as all of these arms were then beginning to explode and literally having no effect upon the Omni Grand Priest whatsoever was when
Morning, Izzy. Good to see you. How you doing? Y'all go check out Izzy Pop, either on her channel or with the bro Scully. Skedaddle. Yeah, just had to say Skedaddle, right? Good to see you. Hopefully you have a nice day. I've been burning for like a minute. Right.
There we are, as that ought to go and slow him down for a short enough time period and allowing for me to hurry and go and think of some kind of an alternate strategy in order for me to overtake that wretched minister during this battle. But even now, something doesn't feel right, because surely he couldn't have just tanked through my attack just now and having none of that affect him now, did it?
Sure he did.
Clear here, Defiler, in case you weren't already able to go and catch on to the fact, for not only am I hereby choosing to go and willingly limit myself here against you so that I may inflict upon you as much damage in making you pay for your actions that had nearly resulted in our absolute annihilation, but I also want for you to go and be able to fully experience the difference between our powers firsthand, since you had already positioned yourself into believing that your strength had already stood at the very pinnacle of supremacy itself, which it almost did after having to do away with both myself and the Omni Kings. The continues when in reality,
hey, we get a lot of variety of entertainment around here, so y'all know how we do. Go get you a Easy Pop creation, and she might help you increase your stats too.
The prospect of being lucky enough to have yourself be locked away like how you once were, the Grand Priest says, and that is simply because keeping you alive will only continue to act against our very best interests here, and especially if you were to somehow go and find a way to be freed from your captive prison yet again, just as it was the first time around, and so to avoid it.
Oh shit, he over here using the Mortal Kombat X-rays just to show you. The Grand Priest, look, broken, completely fucked up. That one's cracked to hell. Yeah, that's crackety cracked. You got more cracks in here than the 80s. You see what I'm saying? He took you back to them 80s ribs, tasting like crack. Or was it the crack tastes like ribs? Either way, y'all know the song.
Ever allowing for you to create create such problems like the ones that you have created thus far by having them happen again one day, I am going to hereby now go and take every opportunity here between us that I can possibly go and manage to get my hands on, in allowing for me to go and inflict upon you the horrors that you yourself had went on to cause onto so many of the others as retribution for your terrible deeds, demon. And that is simply because while you were looking for a shortcut in order to go and attempt to discover and consume the Omniverse by any and all measures, the Omni Grand Priest continues, even if it came at the expense of your own existence, the abomination that you have created by combining Myrno's former glory alongside your own cannot be allowed to go and continue to exist, because while the angelic nature seeks equilibrium, the essence of a demonic nature such as your own seeks dominion, the Grand Priest continues, and when forcefully bound together will it only begin to slowly tear your body apart from within, as it currently is shown in having to do right now. An abomination precisely defined, a mixture that unmakes the meanings of its ingredients, which is exactly in what you have become, and no matter how many times you wish to change, the Grand Priest continues, you will never be able to go and undo the damage that you have already caused, especially not after having to use those 3 ancient configuration cubes to go as far as to track down and confirm the existence of the Omniverse as well, demon. To which it was only just then, during these very moments now, as the Omni Grand Priest was then shown having to beat Raijin into an oblivion, was when Goku then went on to quickly chime back in. So what exactly was this Omniverse that Raijin had been so desperate to go and discover and enter into that the Grand Minister keeps talking about, Goku questions? Because aside from now having to go and learn about Raijin's drawbacks that are seemingly having to come from within, why was his mission in having to go and reach to discover the Omniverse that important to him? With Whis responding, well, for as much as I can remember and having to hear whispers about it, the Omniverse itself is said to be home to a vast number of different multiverses and timelines, all filled with their own alternate dimensions and events that had shaped them into all being different and apart from one another. However, Whis continues, while the question on how and why Raijin wasn't fully able to...
Look. He just broke his jaw. Hold on. If I recall right, that was how he killed Gohan and Broly. He broke Broly's ribs and cracked Gohan's jaw. Or was it cracked Broly's jaw and broke Gohan's ribs? Either way, go back to the playlist. Y'all will see that part of the game, right? But, yeah, he's definitely punishing this dude. This is what they would call... major reconstructive surgery to a person. Yeah, you're gonna have to get that fixed.
Go and bypass his way into achieving his plan still remains unknown, since of course we still don't truly know on what it was that had caused for him to be thrown back out in the first place. But if there's one thing that I will say Whis adds, it's that no matter how hard he might try, and no matter how desperate Raijin comes in attempting to go and try anything that he believes will turn the tides within his favor, there will be nothing that I truly believe that he can go and do that will work to help save him against the power that the Grand Minister is using out there against that monster right now. And while Raijin's current punishment is an order that directly comes down from the Grand Minister, as he believes that such evil is deserving of such a fate as the one that Raijin is facing within this very moment right now, since Raijin's entire motive was seemingly to go and conquer every other reality, including his own, which has now ultimately resulted in having Raijin face the full weight of his karma by the hands of the Grand Minister himself, especially when given their history. And unless of course there is something that Raijin isn't showing us out there, Whis continues, do I only then believe that this punishment here by the Grand Minister is absolutely warranted, because unlike what Myrno tried doing, Raijin had attempted to overstep the natural laws which hold the multiverse together, and because of this, Whis adds, we will simply have to wait and watch to see on how this will go before we are to go and make any sudden judgment or assumption out there. To which moments later, as we then pan on over back to the Grand Priest, as the Grand Priest was shown having to beat Raijin down, was when the Grand Priest then went on to quickly respond, you battle for control within yourself, but it's utterly futile, for the unstable merger between both angelic and demonic powers will ultimately erupt in a violent internal cataclysm from within, tearing your spirit apart until you have made the ultimate choice, and that is to simply go on to choose whether to accept your fate here and be punished for your crimes, as you cannot possibly hope to match my power output during this battle here, or the Grand Priest continues, you can choose to instead go and continue to push yourselves in hopes of having something change here against me, which will only continue to further drive you deeper and deeper into the voids of insanity, as no matter which of these outcomes you end up choosing, and no matter how strongly you believe that anything that you can come up with here will actually work, the Grand Priest continues, and no matter how strongly it is that you feel in your conviction here to push yourself in attempting to use any and all measures that you could go and get your hands on to try and leverage victory over me, understand these words when I tell them to you that I will not only crush your aspirations of ever having you attempt such actions here against me with succession, but you have also reached the limits of your full power, which barely even had any effect out here against me, the Grand Priest continues, which I am more than already certain that you are also very well aware of by now, which only further explains as to why you are starting to slowly lose your composure out here against me, demon. And as the overseer of the laws in which the great Omni Kings hold in place, the Omni Grand Priest continues, commit to an action and make your choice against me here and now, otherwise I will hereby go and make your choice for you, as the pain that I intend on having to go and put you through has only just began to scratch the surface here, you abomination. And thus choose now, demon, with the battle damage Raijin being shown slowly getting up by turning around and responding, and why, you self-absorbed and arrogant angelic creature, and just why would I go and bow myself out of this battle so soon? For you have some nerve, angel. I hate you more than words could ever possibly hope to go and describe, Raijin says. But this isn't over. This isn't over by a long shot, angel. And so don't go and assume and take this moment and having it be what signifies my end, because I am very much far from finished here with you, Grand Minister. And even if I must go and burn my very own existence down to ashes and rise from the fires of oblivion itself, I will find a way to go and match your power, and once I do, once the tides have shifted within my favor, will my strength only wind up in having to completely eclipse yours in ways that your feeble divine mind cannot possibly hope to comprehend. As I had sworn a very long time ago that if the divine would not go and make room for my hunger, Raijin continues, then I will leave nothing behind in the wake of destroying everything that they hold dear to their hearts, if it means in having to finally win, and will I shall. Because if this means that I will have to go and destroy myself in order to finally destroy all of them, then that is exactly what I will hereby go and accept, and allowing for this to go and be my fate, if it means having me go and take them all down and into the graves alongside with me. And while they see me as being an existential threat to their very ways of life and existence itself, if I must go and destroy my very nature in order to watch them all crash and burn as a result of my unbound quest for absolute power, then that is exactly what it will be that I will now go and do, no matter the cost. Which it was only shockingly enough now within these very moments, with the others having to oversee, as Raijin was now beginning to seemingly transform and having to manifest all of his power now onto the surface, was when Beerus went on to then quickly chime in. What in the world does that maniac think he's doing over there, Luis? And as his power is starting to rapidly skyrocket, even more than how it was shown in having to be before. And so now what does that demon think that he's doing? Because everything is starting to shake under the weight of the power that he is exerting, with Vegeta having to then quickly chime in. But where did he go and manage to find this much power from? As surely you aren't going to go and tell me that this freak had been harboring this much power since the very beginning, whilst having to go and hide this from us the entire time, now did he? Because it's also now starting to look as though his body is starting to change out there as well, but why? With Whis responding, oh no, 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 as I am starting to fear that there is something else that is now beginning to take shape, which appears to be coming from deep within his very spirits, as despite with the amount of power that Raijin is pouring out onto the surface now, his essence from within appears to be rapidly changing, as it almost now appears as though he is now beginning to condense his energy into one singular point within his body, almost like some kind of a ticking time bomb of sorts. But we mustn't go and let our guard down just yet, Whis continues, because it still doesn't look as though we are of this mess here anytime soon. To which, as we pan on over back to the Grand Priest, was when the Grand Priest went on to then quickly respond. So I was right to assume that he is going for broke down there, since he now looks to be pushing himself beyond his previous physical capabilities. But what exactly is he planning? Listen to me, all of you. Whis went on to then create a barrier by addressing everyone and responding, as no matter what ends up happening out there, and no matter what this monster tries to unleash and having to draw forth and onto the surface, we are to ensure and trust that the Grand Minister will continue to go and handle things the way they are. But I do fear that since it now looks as though with Raijin beginning to grow more and more unstable, the more he continues to overexert himself, this was surely the last thing that I had ever expected to go and watch unfold. Whis continues, as I had ultimately feared that he would go and harbor more power than what he was shown in having to use when battling against the rest of us. But since we really don't know as to what it is that we are in for, especially with Raijin now appearing to now be far stronger than Myrna was ever shown in having to be before, we must trust that the Grand Minister will go on to finish this beast for good, as he is our one and only best chance in having to ensure our survival when facing that monster. To which it was only back on over with the Grand Priest now having to oversee this from above, and now gaining a better understanding as to what it was that Raijin was now beginning to do, was when the Omni Grand Priest then went on to quickly respond. So this was your backup plan that you have been hiding from the rest of us this entire time, for you have not only allowed for the parasite that was growing from deep within your forged spirits to now fully manifest itself onto the surface, but he also appears to be concentrating all of his energy into one singular point within his body somewhere, the Grand Priest continues, and now having to amount into becoming a ticking time bomb of sorts, which only goes as far as to now show me that he is willing to go and throw his own life away if it means putting an end to me. To which it was only back down below as Raijin's transformation was now seemingly having to be complete and giving away to now go as far as to reveal Raijin's berserker form having to manifest itself onto the surface, was when
No, notice how he's got 2 red halos though. So you see, he try to keep up, but he ain't gonna do shit. Ain't gonna be nothing. Country boy shit. You know what I mean? You a demon, but you only got 2 halos. Grand Priest, meanwhile, he got 8 of them over there. 8, yeah. Take this great 8. Yeah, you know that's gonna be Goku the ex-teacher, the Grand Priest.
berserker Raijin then went on to
Him
quickly
and Oob
respond.
gonna luck up and get sent there together. Predicted.
You are the one who had pushed me to my
Predicted.
absolute breaking points. And now that I have exerted everything that I am into bringing it out and onto the very surface, this is where you are going to finally meet your end. And as I vow to destroy you at any and all costs, no matter if I am to go and destroy myself along the way, Raijin continues. This is the choice that I have decided to go with here, because just as it once was when I fell, in due time so will you, the last of the old guard and mightiest warriors among them all, fall as well, Raijin says. And since both yourself along with your pathetic allies there have already taken everything that I could ever hope to strive for, and coming in between everything it was that I had been slowly building here, just as all of you had managed to once again go and take everything away from me, I too will now ensure that I am going to go and do the same to all of you. Because if I can't go and be allowed to rule over the multiverse with an iron fist whilst being granted access into once again being able to enter into the Omniverse, then nobody can, as I will gladly go and stake my life on it that it does. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Myrno sequel, manga chapter number 54 special, then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing. Because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now, I will go as far as to say that although I do believe that no one had ever expected to witness such an event as the one that is taking place here before us go and unfold the way that it has thus far, I am even more taken back by this sudden and shocking evolution evolution of Raijins. Because while there is still no telling on what we can expect to have come from this beast upon seemingly having to achieve yet another corrupted evolution, I trust that the Grand Minister still wields the greater level of power here between them. And because this battle doesn't appear to be over by a long shot, you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video. And before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to Unreal in Gaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the next one.
Okay,
Hello. Did
drip
you know
cam
that
right
you
there
can
at the
stay up
end
to
too.
date
See,
with the
that's what you
latest
gotta
Dragon
do.
Ball content
That's what you
by
gotta do.
simply subscribing to Unreal in
Go ahead and hit him with the
Also, don't forget to follow
black
on
and
these
whites.
social media platforms.
And go ahead and
Sexy
hit him
son
with the
of a
color
bitch.
right there for the drip cam at the end. Like, boop.
Silent Cell.
Gone.
Me and the fans are having a
Message.
moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video. Why are the Pilaf Gang kids in Dragon Ball Super? When the Pilaf Gang got reintroduced into the story in Battle of Gods, we were surprised to see them as kids rather than adults. We never see how or when this happened, but the Dragon Ball Super manga gives us a clearer picture. In a bonus chapter, we get the future timeline perspective of the events. While the Z fighters are fighting the androids, Gohan is tasked with finding the Dragon Balls. It's a race against time, as they're already being gathered by someone else, and they need to use them before Piccolo dies. Him and Bulma hurry to them, but it's too late. Shenron is already summoned, and it's the Pilaf Gang wishing to be young again. And tragically, just as the wish is made, Piccolo dies and the Dragon Balls are turned to stone, while the Pilaf Gang as babies crawl away. Obviously, this is future Mai's backstory, but we can assume that it was a similar story for the present Pilaf Gang, who, at some point during the 7 years after the Cell arc, used the Dragon Balls to regain their youth. This is also supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, since it parallels Dragon Ball GT, where they turned Goku into a kid.
Stronger than he was even before, to the point where he could hold up Mount Sumeru on just one shoulder, which basically equaled out to holding up the infinite cosmic sky. Wukong was able to reach perfection on his journey, entering into the incomplete nirvana, which is boundless reality beyond everything, beyond all concepts and limitations. It's above the God realms and the formless realms, which those two realms were already above physicality and dimensions. So we're talking about like true outer versal stuff here. And it doesn't stop there, because at the end of his journey, Sun Wukong was brought before the Buddha again. And this time, he transcended into the complete nirvana, which made him even more powerful.
Then he flies straight through his beam and had that right man scared for his life. Then sticks my boy dead in his face. I've seen niggas in wheelchairs have bigger legs than him. Alright, so we back at it again with another Dragon Ball.
shit.
And I really haven't glazed Vegeta like at all yet, so let's glaze him. And before we start, please make sure to subscribe. And now, let's do this. So Frieza and Android 17 over there fighting for their lives against Topo as it is in his base form. Then just to turn it up even more, Topo turns to the dark side like Anakin Skywalker to the Darth Vader. And that boy goes, I'ma eat it. Ah! next thing you know, that man done transforms into a literal god of destruction. So Frieza and Android 17's widescreen TV forehead ass start looking at him all confused like, bro, what you want? Then for the next 20 minutes, it gets bad for these two. And I mean bad. Michael Jackson, B.A.D. Because they was taking belt to ass, body slamming, headshots all day, bad. Because Frieza gets hit with that. Just to have him letting out more saliva than someone getting ready to give some head. What? Then start crushing this man's skull into straight oblivion. Even though I'm Team Universe 7 all day, I couldn't help but to be happy right here. We got a heroic, strong black man terrorizing the most racist white guy of all time. Shit made me feel so good I had to get up and start hitting the Jonathan Major stomp while my homeboys hit the Steph Curry sway in the background. This is a beautiful moment in history. This is what my nigga Martin Luther King died for. And then we fast forward to 17 over here hitting the key blast spam, but time and time again, this series proves that you have a better chance of winning the lottery ticket than a key blast doing some damage. Cause Topo just walks right through that mug, and 17 hits the same face that Shannon Sharp did when he was shocked too. If I'm giving someone my all, and they proceed to act like it was no big deal, I'm gladly letting my teammates carry me out the game. Because do you really think I'm finna keep fighting after that BS? No, nigga! So then out of nowhere, a few beams fly straight to Topo's dome, and then we see Goku and Vegeta straight boxing it out with Jiren. And as Vegeta jumps up and is about to sneak Jiren, him and Topo look at each other like, hey my nigga, go ahead and handle my light work. Shit, you ain't say nothing but a word. And he straight Vegeta from the left side. Then he starts machine gun blasting his ass until the end of time. And unlike other key blast spams, this one was actually doing some damage. Cause this shit done had Vegeta shaking from side to side like he was Jake the dog hitting his little dance. But Vegeta's like, oh nah bruh, we not finna keep doing this. So he jump away from the beams and then powers up just to pull out one of the most cool but useless moves in Dragon Ball. The final Flash.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Now, I'm not going to say too much about this attack, but I want y'all to go ahead and peep his track record right quick.
Oh, psych!
Light work, no reaction.
Get the fuck out of here! That shit garbage, nigga!
Yeah, so, in conclusion, this move is hot ass with a negative record, and we need to make some changes immediately. So Vegeta shoots that hoe off at him, and Topo just spawns in a Hawkeye orb to get ready to absorb the attack. My nigga really had the audacity to say, you need more than your fancy destruction energy to stop me. And 2 seconds later, this man's Hakai orb does exactly what Vegeta didn't want it to do, and completely absorbed his attack. Now, thank God Vegeta sidestepped the Hakai orb, because if he would have got hit by that, Buddy would have had to go into early retirement. Vegeta would have been looking like a vegetable. I'm talking no arms, no legs, just a nigga with a widow's peak and a bad attitude. And while Vegeta over there talking about how he won't lose because he kept his promise to Captain, Topo come in with another fire to send that boy flying. Then he straight blows this man back out and had him flying up in the air like when Deadpool invaded Francis's military base. Then smacks the Sonic rings out this nigga. Oh nah, I know the fight between them just started, but it's not looking so hot for my boy. Why is my Saiyan Prince on all fours taking it up the ass right now? Get back, nigga. Y'all in the tournament fighting for y'all lives. Pull out some bullshit. Spit in his eyes. Step on his toes. Grab his dick and twist it. I don't care. Just do something. So Vegeta then weaves old dude and then kicks this nigga's shin out of place. Had bro's knees giving up on him mid-fight. Sit down, big fella. But then Topo kicks my guy across the pavement just to try and follow up with a combo. But Vegeta knew it was time to lock back in, so he blocks every single punch that this man throws at him and start trying to talk his shit to him. Brother man on the other side not trying to hear none of that BS though. So he kicks my nigga away and then pops my guy with a beam to send him to the other side of the map. And oh, nah. Look at how that blast had him posed up. Dude pulled out the legendary sacrificial Piccolo stance. It's changed now as pose. Where my hug at as pose. But hold up. You not slick either, black man. We finna dig in your rectum too, cause let's rewind this right quick. Look at this skinny ass leg, bruh. This nigga got the upper body of a gorilla, but his lower body looking like Daddy Long Neck. Why is your top half using steroids and your bottom half using Ozempic? You can tell dude ain't never did a lower body workout in his life. I've seen niggas in wheelchairs have bigger legs than him. And this gotta be racist. Why they had the only black man in this tournament at the time have a leg built like a piece of Popeye's fried chicken? And peep the length between bro's arm and his foot. These hoes more close than two butt cheeks with BBLs on them. Like, let me show y'all the distance this should really be.
Oh shit, they be motherfucking clouded.
I want y'all to check this out. Look at the pose he's doing and the length for his legs, and look at it compared to mine. I can't really keep my balance like that, but you see my leg is all the way out there and my arms is back here. Why the fuck is this nigga damn near touching his toes? What is you doing? Brother, fix your body. I'm body shaming the fuck out you right now. This is what a normal black man is supposed to look like. You is disgracing us niggas. With a body build like this, your black ass deserve to be kicked out this tournament. You mean to tell me you want to protect the universe, but you can't even hit leg day once a week? Buddy can hit unlimited push-ups, but when it comes to a squat, he gonna break his ankle the first rep. I bet when you walk down the stairs, you fold like Caleb City. This man's build is really making me mad. Yo, this nigga. Okay, let me chill out and stop flaming old dude into the ground, and let me get back into this video. So after Vegeta gets sent to the wall like he just got hit with one of the meanest Lasingons known to mankind, Topo start charging up a beam that's fatter than an unbalanced BBL, and then he hooks that thing at my boy. But Vegeta start having an inner monologue moment. He like, I fight for my sexy ass wife. God damn, she's so fucking fine. Lord Beers himself couldn't pull me out that fine shit. What? Oh yeah, I also fight for my kids. And this guy that's built like a HDMI cable too, I guess. But I refuse to go down and not be able to pound my hot billionaire wife. Bruh, that snow bunny you talking about can't be that fine. Well, dang, that boy Vegeta really not playing about his wife. The power of a super gooner is the strongest power of all, apparently. And you already know that was just the beginning of that combo. Cause dude then come in spraying like he got an unlimited magazine in Call of Duty. Just to fly in and start piecing this nigga up even more. Then he flies straight through his beam and had that black man scared for his life. With that much fear in his eyes, you know all hope has officially left his body. And bruh, I'm on the floor right now. Who got the Lorax this scared? I know my prince is about to beat the PTSD into this man. And Vegeta gets allegations too. Cause the way he continued to just put hands on a brother, it had to be excessive force. He was doing this man like how Gojo was doing Miguel and JJK. I said, police! Help! And it gets even worse, cause Vegeta then kicks bro so hard his foot literally went missing. There's no ankle, no foot, it's just a styrofoam cup on his leg right now, and his aura already purple, so he might as well come off that lean before he
Wait a minute, they said it's a styrofoam cup.
To the tournament of power.
Oh, fuck, that's hilarious.
And of course, we had the knockoff Lord Beerus over here meet Ryan Topo while he getting his ass beat. He talking about some, come on Topo, get back in there. That man you fighting like 4 feet tall and probably don't even got hands like that for real.
Yeah.
Nigga, who the fuck
fuck is you, bro? You know you can't fight.
So Topo tried to pull out another Hakai to erase Vegeta, but he pulled up with a right hook to not only punch through literal destruction, but then sticks my boy dead in his face and Pete Bro's mustache. That punch had that thing swaying to the side. It looked like it was trying to hit the Carlton dance. It's not unusual to get whooped by anyone. And Topo really started trying to spam the same move.
Okay, bro's got his editing there too. I appreciate that. That's high quality work right there.
Then in the middle of the other ones, Vegeta smacks him straight in the sternum and probably had him struggling for air. And he finally kicks the out old dude to send his deformed self all the way to the wall in the distance. Had that boy rolling like the Joker skateboarding. And then we see the legendary Prince himself start charging up an attack, and he forms a ball of ki around him. Piccolo like, wait a minute, I know he not about to do what I think he about to do, right? I know damn well he not about to blow himself back up once again. Well, actually, Mr. Piccolo, that's exactly what he was about to do. Because I want every single one of y'all to listen to how passionate this man Vegeta was about to be to blow himself up.
You're not really gonna use that suicidal move, are you?
You are a sick nigga, man. What is wrong with you? The sickest.
Yeah, nah, I know I'm not tweaking. Is this man really hyping himself up for a sewer slide party? Oh yeah, this nigga is crazy. I haven't seen someone this excited for an explosion since the first time I ran into a loop llama in Fortnite. But anyways, Topo has the amazing idea of not just powering up, but also summoning 2 Hakai orbs, because clearly the last few worked, so surely it'll work even better this time. So he combines them holes into one giant orb and then shoots it at Vegeta. But with all his power, he yells to the top of his lungs, somehow not destroying anyone else's eardrums, then blasts through that man's Hakai orb once again. That trash ass shit. And then smacks that boy with the perfect Cell dramatic finish from Dragon Ball Fighters to blow up half of the fighting stage. And then the next thing we see is The Rock with no fitness plan pop into the eliminated section, while Vegeta is still standing over there holding his arm again. I said, God damn! Did Android 18 leave this man with that much eternal pain? This kick happened to him like what, 10 years ago in their time? And he's still suffering from that same injury. My brother in Christ, your wife is a super genius who can probably make you a healing machine that literally nobody else would have access to. And you still have sensu beans. So why does your arm still, you know what? Whatever. I don't even care anymore. Anyways, that's the end of the fight. My boy Vegeta took a well-deserved W, and the Lorax wearing tights over here was taken out of the game. Sensational. Now, what's really sensational is that I'm finally working on the Vegito video for you guys, so I might be gone for like a month or a month and a half to fully complete it. This thing is about to be over an hour long, so y'all know y'all gotta stay tuned. And in the meantime, I will be posting shorts and maybe some compilations to keep the channel alive while I'm gone, and we'll definitely be streaming every single weekend, so y'all don't want to miss that. Now make sure to sub up and hit that like button. And with all that being said, that's how Vegeta clutched up against a god of destruction, Topo, in the Tournament of Power.
You're making a big mistake. Where do you think you're going? Pidgey, what a waste of talent. Not today. Back off. Have it your way. A tough guy like you should be able to face the truth.
Are you okay?
course, y'all know to go check out the big homie at DJ Is for these beats. Keep telling y'all know you be slapping them motherfuckers together.
Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay.